Morning students. So today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is acid, bases and salts. Now about 3 million chemical compounds are known in nature, and all these compounds can be classified on the basis of certain properties such as color, taste, solubility and chemical behavior. Now on the basis of chemical behavior, all compounds can be classified into the following groups, that is acids, bases and salts. Now all acids have certain chemical properties in common, although there may be wide differences among some of them. Similarly, the group of bases and salts also share similarities. There are useful relations between their oxides and acids, between oxides and bases, and between oxides and salts. In this chapter, you will learn about the properties and uses of acids, bases, and salts, and their relationships with oxides. Now, in this chapter, let's start with the first topic, that is acids. Now, we all know that acids are usually sour in taste. For example, lemon juice, orange juice. You must have tasted all these substances, and we know that all these substances are sour in taste. And these substances are sour in taste because of the presence of certain acids in them. So the first property is acids are sour in taste. Now, acid is also can be also defined as an acid is a hydrogen containing compound which gives hydronium ions. Hydronium ions means H plus ions. So acid is a hydrogen containing compound which contains hydronium ions when they are dissolved in water. That means whenever any acid is dissolved in water, they will always produce these hydronium ions. So acids are those substances which produces hydronium ions when dissolved in water. Now the next property of acid is they turn blue litmus red. Now one of the most common reaction of acid is when acids react with metal, they form hydrogen gas and salt. Now this property you have already studied in the previous chapter. Now the next important property of acid is they always conduct electricity. Because of the presence of these hydronium ions, they always conduct electricity. Acids are very corrosive in nature as well. The next important property of acid is when acid and base react with each other, they produce salt and water. And this kind of reaction is also called a neutralization reaction. And the pH of acids are always less than 7. Now these two chemical properties we will study in detail in the consequent classes. Now these are the some characteristics of acid which you have to remember. Now some of the common acids which we use in our daily life are HCl. HCl means hydrochloric acid. Now the acid which is produced in our stomach, which is used to digest our food, is actually hydrochloric acid. Now we all know that our vehicles contain batteries, and those batteries are in those batteries usually sulfuric acid is present. Now the next acid is nitric acid, HNO3. Now nitric acid is usually present in explosives. Bombs and explosives are usually made up of nitric acid. Now the vinegar which we use in our kitchen, or you all must be very fond of noodles or chow mein as well. And in chow mein we usually use vinegar. Vinegar is nothing, is actually a acid called acetic acid. Now the formula of this acid is CH3COOH. Now the sodas like Coke, Limca, Sprite, all these sodas contain carbonic acid in them. And Phosphoric acid is usually used in many flavoring agents, or used as a flavoring agent. Now, so these are certain acids which we use in our daily life. So some common examples of acid are vinegar, lemon juice, soft drinks, battery acid, stomach acid, apple juice and black tea. As I said, vinegar contains acetic acid, the formula of which is CH3COOH. Lemon juice contains citric acid. Soft drink contains carbonic acid. Battery acid is H2SO4. Stomach acid is HCl. Apple juice also contains an acid which is called malic acid. Black tea contains tannic acid. So these are the certain acids which we use in our daily life. Now let's come to our next topic, that is bases. So bases are those substances which gives off hydroxide ions when dissolved in water. Now, as we studied in case of acid, acid produces H plus ions or hydronium ions, and bases are those substances which produces hydroxide ion, that means OH minus ion when dissolved in water. Now, bases are usually bitter in taste. Now, you must have tasted bitter gourd, which is also called Karela, and Karela is quite bitter in taste. So, this is because bitter gourd contains a base, and because of which it is bitter in taste. Similarly, the soap which we use in our daily life, they also contains a base, because of which it is soapy in nature. So bases are usually soapy to touch, or they are soapy in nature. Now, in case of base also, bases have one another name, that is called alkalis. Now, all bases cannot be called alkalis. Only those bases which are water soluble in nature, they are only called alkalis, and rest of them are called bases. Now we can say that all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. Only those bases which are water soluble in nature, they are only called alkalis. So this is one of the very important point in case of bases, which is all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. I hope you have understood this point very well. So bases which are water soluble in nature, they are only called alkalis, and if the chemical substance produces OH minus ions or hydroxide ions, then they are usually called bases. Now bases turns red litmus blue. They also turn phenolphthalein pink and methyl orange yellow. Now this is one of the most important point for your exams as well, because usually 1 mark question or MCQ based question usually comes in which these characteristics are quite important. So litmus bases usually turn red litmus blue. It turns phenolphthalein solution pink and methyl orange solution yellow. Now litmus, phenolphthalein, methyl orange, all these are indicators and about all this topic we will study after some time. Now the next important characteristic of bases is bases plus acid always gives salt plus water. Now this we have already studied in case of acids as well. So this is a neutralization reaction. When acid and bases react with each other, they produce a salt and water. And the pH of bases is always greater than 7. Now some of the common bases which we use in our daily life are sodium hydroxide. The formula is NaOH, and this base is usually present in soaps or in drain cleaners. Now magnesium hydroxide is also one of the important base, and this is usually present in antacids. Now when you were a child, whenever you feel acidity, your mother must have given you a white colored liquid in order to give you relief from acidity. So that white colored solution is nothing but a solution of magnesium hydroxide, and it is a very good base for treating acidity. Now aluminium hydroxide is also a very good base which is present in many antacids, and which is used to treat acidity, and this base is also present in deodorants. Now NH4OH is also called ammonium hydroxide, and this is also called ammonia. Now ammonia is usually present in hair dyes, in many shampoos as well. So some common examples of base which we use in our daily life is detergents. They are bases because they are soapy in nature, and they also contains many bases. Baking soda, which we use to make cakes and many other food items. So this is also a base which we use in our daily life. As a drain cleaner, it is also used as a drain cleaner, which contains NaOH. Ammonia, it is also used in hair dyes and many shampoos. Soap, hand wash, washer, all these things contains bases. Antacids means the medicines which we usually use to treat acidity, like eno, magnesium hydroxide, milk of magnesia. All these are antacids which actually contains bases.